Hey, what's up? Welcome to the second part of the lecture on the value proposition. In the first part, we discussed the concept of the value proposition. We defined what is value proposition. We also discussed why the concept is so much important, especially for the startups. Also, we discussed the difference between the value proposition and the other concepts in the management field, especially the marketing side, the slogans. Also, we discussed different examples of how the remarkable products couldn't make into the market because they couldn't fit with the customer demands in the market. In this part of the lecture, we are going to discuss how to fill the value proposition canvas. From our previous discussion, we know this is how the value proposition canvas looks like. On the canvas, we have two participants, or the two boxes. One on the right side represents the customer segment, while on the left side the square represents the business side. If you look closely, there are three parts of the customer segment. One, the customer jobs, the different functions that the customer does. There are pains that the customer faces during fulfilling the job. Also, there are certain gains from doing the job. While on the left side, there are also three parts. One, the goods and the services that the company produces, and how those goods and the services they act as the pain relievers for the customers. Also, how those goods and the services they act as the gain creators for the customers. We will start with the customer segment. The first part of the customer segment is the customer jobs. There are three core jobs that the customer does. One, the functional. The second one is the social, and the third one is the emotional. There are some extra jobs, supporting jobs that the customer does. In order to better understand the customer jobs and the overall value proposition canvas, we will take a hypothetical example. In this case, we are going to take the example of a student or a fresh graduate. The dream of a fresh graduate or a recent student is to get the first internship or the first job. The students know from their seniors or the family members that in order to get the first job after graduation, it is really important to have some experience in the past. Most of the students, they are so much busy in their studies, they do not consider taking some internships or some part-time work in order to get the experience. That will boost their chances of landing their first job quickly after graduation. So, in our hypothetical example, the functional jobs that the student does is like getting from point A to point B. In this case, the point A is no internship, while the point B is doing some internship or some part-time work. The internship may be during the summer vacations or the winter break, or maybe a part-time work after the studies or the university class times. So we'll start with the first job, the functional. So the customer in this case is the student. In this case, the student wants to get their first internship. Why? Because the objective may be social, and the social job is impressing his family and friends, maybe his class fellows, or maybe someone at the family, or maybe his father or mother. While at the same time, there are some emotional attachment to getting this job done, which is gaining peace of mind. Peace of mind in this case could be more confidence that he will land the first job quickly as compared to other guys who are not doing any job at the same time or who have no experience when they graduate. At the same time, he tries to reduce the risk of joblessness in the future. Or at the same time, he feels more happy. So, all of these factors play a key role in the customer jobs. At the same time, the fourth job that the customer does is the supporting job. For example, he will be looking for all the solution as a buyer who helps him getting the first job or the first internship. At the same time, anyone who is providing the solution, he acts as the co-creator. At the same time, the transferor. In our hypothetical example, we are going to add another perspective, the firm side. For example, there is a career counseling consultancy firm. The career consultancy firm helps students and the fresh graduates get their first internships or jobs in the market. So in this case, if the consultancy firm helps the student get their first internship and he is satisfied or maybe not satisfied, so he will act as a promoter of the consultancy firm. Or at the same time, if the consultancy firm fails to get him a job, so then definitely he is not going to refer that consultancy firm to his friends and family members. In extreme cases, he will stop his colleagues and his family members to stop the services of that consultancy firm. Maybe it is inefficient, maybe it is a fraud, whatever the condition may be. Now, if we look closely, so there is an arrow. There is an order from important to the insignificant. Every student has different problems. Your job as a business is to list his problem from the most important ones to the insignificant ones. For example, one of the problems may be the canteen food is not good. At the same time, he is also looking for a job. So which one do you think could be more important for the guy to solve that problem? Solving the canteen food or maybe getting his first job? So you'll find two different types of students. One type of students who are not interested in their first internship or first job in the market. So for them, maybe the food is more important. While on the other hand, those students who are looking for a job, so to them, the most important problem they are facing right now would be getting the first job in the market, right? Why it is important? This is important from the perspective to list down or to make an order from the most important to insignificant ones because you are trying to solve the top three problems of your target customers. Everyone has hundreds of problems they face each day, each month, each week, each year. But we do not pay for all the problems. We pay only for the problems who act as hurdles, who create frustrations, who put more risk to our jobs. So those are the problems we try to solve at first, right? So that is why it is important when you meet your target customers, you listen to their problems, and on the basis of the importance, on the basis of the severity of the problem, you list down those problems in order from the most important problem to the least important problem. This is so much important. Because if you're trying to solve the least important problem for which he is not ready to pay any money, so probably you are making a solution for which he will like the solution, but he will never be ready to give you money for that solution or buy that solution. At the same time, if you're trying to build the problem, which if you are trying to build a solution which tries to solve his problem number one, which is so severe that he feels frustrated most of the time. In other words, he cannot sleep because he has this problem on the mind. So if you try to solve that problem for him, so the chances are he will like your solution and probably he will like to buy that solution, right? So that is how we rank the problems in order from the most important ones to insignificant ones. So in this hypothetical example, if a guy is really frustrated by not getting a job or not getting an internship in the market, so, and you are going to solve that problem for him, so probably you are making some money out of this. But if a student is not interested in such solutions, and he is interested in playing sports, maybe, or sitting in the canteen, maybe, or watching movies. So, for example, your solution is not good for them. So, if he is interested in watching movies, so probably he will buy the Netflix solution and not your solution, right? So, understanding the problems of the customers is so much important. You need to know the customer jobs, or your target customer jobs in the market, in their life. So whatever he is doing, you are going to help him do their job. And only then the chances are he is going to buy your solution. Right? The next component are the pains. Pains are the situations where your customers are trying. In other words, pains are the situations your customers are trying to avoid. For example, the dissatisfaction from an existing solution. In this hypothetical example, we'll carry further. He is unable to find the internship, or a fresh graduate is unable to find his first job or get his first job, and he feels frustrated. He also faced these risks. The risk is if he doesn't get the internship now, so he will have lesser chances in getting the first job after graduation. For the fresh graduate, the risk is he is wasting his time. So probably after a year or two, there is more competition in the job market. And at the same time, there are different obstacles related to performing this job. Performing this job means getting his first internship. So these are the pains that your target customers they are trying to avoid. So understanding them and knowing these pains is so much important for you because if you do not understand their pains, so then definitely you are not going to help them. Probably they are not going to even listen to you when you come to them, right? So that is why we say that customer insights are so much important when designing the value proposition canvas, right? The third part is the gains. Gains are basically the positive outcomes that your target customers they hope to achieve. Some of the examples may be concrete results like getting the job, getting the internship, the benefits, and even aspirations at some time. These are the positive vibes which help boost the morale of the target customers and they feel more happy about themselves or whatever they are doing in their life, right? There are four different levels of the gains. You need to understand them. It is so much important. Like in the consultancy example, right? The required gains are the customers, the guys are the basic requirement is there are some internships or some jobs available in any type of the organization. So that is the least they are expecting, right? And it must be there. Expected gains are they are the ones who are going to get those internships or the jobs. The desired gains are it's very convenient to them. It's in their own line of speciality. For example, they are doing specialization in marketing, let's say, and the internship is also looking for a guy in marketing, right? The other case would be a guy doing specialization in marketing finds a job that requires economics, maybe. So the internship position is available, but it is not according to his line of specialization. Right? So this is what he desires. Unexpected gains are more than what he basically desires. For example, an internship that is available in the multinational corporation, maybe, right? So these are the different levels of the gains that the customers face or the customers hope to achieve while doing his jobs. So this is the right side of the target customers. These are the customer insights that you need to understand before designing your side of the business, before designing the different marketing messages and the goods and the services per se. Now we move to the other part of the left part of the canvas, which is the product side. Here you find three different zones. In one zone, there is the list of the products and the services which you build your value proposition on. Right? Here you describe in which way these products and the services are the pain relievers and the gain creators for your target customers. The key over here is to match your product and services with the customer jobs on the right side of the canvas. The second part of the left side of the canvas is the gain creators. Gain creators are basically all those things that you basically design in line with the expectation of the customers. You design and tailor your gain creators until it resonates with the customer's gain creators. The key point over here is synchronization or resonate. How you achieve that? How do you achieve this sync or the fit with the customer mentality or the mindset? From the customer insights. When you have met your target customers, you talk to him, you know the words he speak. For example, your target customer, in this case, you are the career counseling firm, and your target customers are the young students and the fresh graduates. They feel frustrated. They hope to get their first job, which will help them reach to a multinational corporation or bright career in the future, right? So you tell them how you are going to help them, how you have made different partnerships with the multinational corporations, or how you have helped different students and different graduates in the past. So that is what the customer basically are expecting to listen to or hear from you. So when you know the keywords, when you know those specific words which the customer want to hear, so you design your gain creators as per those gains that they are expecting. Clear? The third one is the pain relievers, right? And it's the same as the gain creators. You design and tailor your pain relievers until it resonates with the customer's pain relievers. At the end, this is how you achieve the fit between your products and the services and the customer jobs. On the right side, you list all the jobs. Also, you list down all the pains. You list down all the gains that the customers are expecting. On your side of the business, on your side of the canvas, you list down all the products and the services. You list down all the pain relievers and at the same time the gain creators. The key is, or the objective is, to achieve a fit between you and the customers. And that is what we say is the product market fit. One thing that you should remember, the value proposition is a live document. It can happen that your value proposition canvas after meeting the customers for 40 hours is different than when you talk to him for 2 years continuously. You have lesser understanding of the target customers in 40 hours as compared to your understanding them in 2 years time period, or maybe 4,000 hours of interaction with the target customer. So you constantly revise your value proposition until and unless you reach the perfect value proposition. Why? Because you are a startup. You are not an established business. The established business is while working for years and decades with the target customers, they know their target customers deep down. So they have their business model and their value proposition perfectly tuned to their target customers. For example, Coca-Cola knows your target customers better than anyone else in the market in their own segment. So if you're trying to introduce a new soft drink in the market, so your understanding of the target customers would be nothing compared to that of the Coca-Cola, right? Why? Because you are just new. You do not understand your target customers as much as the Coca-Cola is learning about them from a century, right? So, in other words, value proposition is a live document. You constantly improve your understanding of the target customers and you constantly change the offer, you constantly change the word that your target customer wants to hear. And then you can achieve the product market fit. So product is the you side, the value proposition side, while the market is the target customer side. And that is how we call them the product market fit. So if you have not achieved the product market fit, so probably there is a problem for you to survive, right? Now, here's another question. Which side you should fill first in the value proposition canvas? Is it the product side or is it the customer side? Which one you should start with first? Stop for a while, think on this, have your reasons, and then answer the question. I'm expecting some comments in the comment boxes. And I will check whether you are right, whether your understanding of the value proposition is enough or you need more understanding. Right? Okay. So this is, what do you think? The value proposition canvas should start from the company to the customers or from the customer to the company, right? So this is how you should answer your question. If you think If you think that it should be from the customer to the company, meaning you should start with the customer side first, and then the company should design their products and the services and their value proposition and their gain creators and their pain relievers in line with the customer's pains and gains and their jobs. So that is one approach or one strategy. But if you think it should be from the company to the customers, meaning you should list down your goods and the services and how it is going to relieve the pain of the customer, how it is going to help the customers achieve their objectives in life or their jobs. So that is another perspective. There are two different strategies we are discussing over here. One is the push strategy, one is the pull strategy. In the push strategy, it happens like this. It is from the company to the customers. The company develop a product and then they are looking for the customers who are basically naive to the product. And then you push your product. Apple did that in the past. Not many customers expected, or not many customers had the vision to have the smartphones, right? So what Apple did was they developed a remarkable product and they did huge amount of marketing and convincing, and they pushed the product over the people. Not many people at that time they believed that a phone could be a personality enhancer, right? But Apple made them think like that. So this is one example of how they pushed the product on the market. Another strategy is the pull strategy. In the pull strategy, you know you can develop any type of the product. So what you do is you go into the market, you try to find different problems or the gaps in the market, you meet the customers, then you develop your value proposition, then you develop the goods and the services, and then you write the gain creators, how your product is going to help them gain whatever they are doing in life, how your product is going to relieve those people from their pains, and then you start selling that product to the target customers. So that is basically the pull strategy. Which strategy you should adopt? You should write your answer in the comment boxes. I will answer this question in the strategy part of the lecture series. So the key over here is to have the customer inspired innovation. The customer inspired innovation basically talks about that you develop products and the services which have more chances of acceptance in the market. For survival, it is important that you know this fact. Those companies, those engineers, those coders, those programmers who ignore this fact, they end up developing games, developing mobile applications, developing softwares which nobody wants. And that is the reason 72% of these businesses or these innovations fail. Only 28% of them succeed. And again, we should remember that most of the time the businesses fail because there is no demand for such products in the market. That is the number one reasons that startups fail or new businesses fail in the market, because there is no real demand for these goods and the services in the market. So in order for you to start successful businesses, successful organizations, you should know this fact, the customer inspired innovation. So with this, we come to the end of the lecture. So in two parts, we discussed these concepts. We discussed what is value proposition canvas. Value proposition canvas is basically the canvas on which we write the statement. The statement about why someone should buy your product and the service. Value proposition is different than the business slogans. Value proposition canvas talks about how it is going to help your target customers. It never tells things about how great you are, how great your product is, how great your company or the team is. So it doesn't talk about you, it talks about the customer problems, solving the customer problems. That is how it is different from other slogans and other business statements. Then we discussed how to fill the value proposition canvas. We discussed there are two parts of the canvas, the right side and the left side. We stated that in order to get the customer inspired innovation, the right side of the canvas should be started with first. Also, we discussed that without data, there is only opinion. Without data, without the customer insight, we can make flop products. We can have opinion that we are building the strong products, but actually this can be a 50-50 chance. So we strongly believe in fact that the customer insight should be taken first before developing the product and designing and telling the customer how we are developing the solutions which are the pain relievers and the gain creators for you guys. Finally, we got to know that the value proposition canvas basically helps us getting the customer driven innovation. Without the customer innovation, customer insights, and understanding the customers, we are developing the products. We are designing the marketing messages which never resonates, which never fits in with the customer problems and their aspirations and their whatever they are doing in life. Right? So I hope you learned few things about the value proposition canvas. Thank you so much.